Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. Welcome back to another session of Trading the Markets with Kris Bullock, aka Blastoplas. I'm Bijan Maleki, and I want to let you all know ready, set, connect. We have a 2 week Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. Welcome back to another session of Trading the Markets with Kris Bullock, aka Blastoplas. I'm Bijan Maleki. And I want
You got it open in a browser?
all
Maybe?
know ready. Yes, sorry about that, guys. Oh my God, technical difficulties, but we're back. We have a 2 week series that's built for this market with real world tactics on AI, crypto, and macro, and where you can find a trading edge in what we have going on in the market currently. Kicks off Monday, August 11th. It's hands-on and it's only for RV Connect members. So make sure you join and sign up if you're not already an RV Connect member. If you join before Sunday, you'll also unlock bonus content with insights from Ral and Jordy Visser to get you ahead before this series begins. And of course, as an RV Connect member, you'll get ongoing access to Kris's entry-level crypto portfolio, which is up over 2x since May 2024. It's outpacing Bitcoin by over 30%. And it's not just Kris's portfolio that you'll get. You also get Joe Bland's entry-level equity portfolio and trading frameworks. And his portfolio is up 51% since April. You'll also get weekly macro and crypto insights, and you'll get access to our trade ideas from Real Vision contributors and our community. So make sure you are signed up and join us for that 2 week event. We have a lot of great content coming your way. So you'll need to be an RV Connect member to do that. So make sure you do. Kris, how are you doing today, midweek?
Doing great, thank you. Yes, good week so far. Not super fireworks yet, but I think we've got some good stuff on the way that I'm just going to get right into, in fact. So I wanted to start off by talking about the Bitcoin chart. We had kind of touched on it on Monday a little bit in terms of what I'm expecting over the coming weeks. But right now, we've had a nice bounce out of the lows. I talked about on Monday, I think this was Monday here. Yeah. So on Monday, I was like, there's a decent chance we might get a little bit of a retest back down to kind of capture a little bit more, liquidate some longs before actually running the price up. And we did kind of get that. We did get a decent wick down yesterday, and it did kind of capture some of that. It did sort of liquidate some of those longs, and now it's back up to the upside. And what I see happening, I want to kind of touch on the liquidation heat map chart, because what I'm seeing, it's morphed a little bit since Monday. Now we've got a little bit more people, building long positions here, but we've got a ton of people that are basically, these are short positions here that stand to get liquidated as soon as the price comes up into it. And earlier in the week, this cluster was a bit higher, but now it's all the way down to, it starts at about 115,800, give or take. And if you go back to the chart, we're not far from that. We're currently at 115,140. So as soon as this starts chipping up into that 115,800 level, we're going to start to see those shorts get liquidated, and that's going to cause a lot of forced buying, which I think is going to sort of accelerate price to the upside. It's going to juice it. It's going to cause a lot of forced buying through the mechanic process of those liquidations. And I think we're right on the cusp there. And once we get up to that 115,800 level, we could see a pretty sharp bump all the way up to like this 20-day moving average or something, maybe even a little higher. And I think that's going to sort of spark the next rally is really what I'm seeing. And so I'm looking at that as the big catalyst in this moment, because it's, again, not very far away. We could even hit it today potentially. So right now, that's kind of what's going on in the forefront. And then on the sort of broader scope, I want to kind of pivot over to the dollar index and the global M2 chart here. And the candle chart here is the dollar index, the DXY. And we've had, it's been in a steady downtrend basically since the beginning of the year, but we've had a pretty strong counter trend rally here out of these lows starting, July 1st. It got really harshly rejected, I would say, at this trend line, at this sort of dominant trend line that's been forming since the beginning of the year. It got majorly rejected, kind of initially found support on its 10-day moving average, but then is also down a good bit again today. And I believe that this is going to continue. I kind of strongly believe that this is going to maintain this larger downtrend, and we're going to see this dollar index come all the way down into the low 90s, potentially even high 80s. So I'm inclined to think that this counter trend rally really was just that, and it's sort of over at this point. I expect us to go on and set lower lows, and supporting that further is a nice decent bounce in liquidity in global M2 to the upside, which M2 is effectively the inverse of the dollar index, but we can see that it is supporting it. So I do think we're seeing an influx of liquidity. We're seeing the dollar get rejected here at this trend line, and that's going to further support risk assets going forward to the upside. So that's kind of what I'm looking at as far as Bitcoin right now. Pivoting over to the dominance front, a couple of interesting notes here. On the left side, we've got Bitcoin dominance. On the right side, we've got others dominance, which is effectively everything outside the top 10 in market cap. And we can see here that both Bitcoin and alts, I guess, are down. And so what does that mean? Something's got to be up if both of these are down. And really what we're seeing is Ethereum. Ethereum is not factored into this equation because Ethereum is number 2 in market cap. And so it's not in the top, it's in the top 10, so it's not factored in others. So Ethereum is actually continuing to look really, really strong. It has held support on this breakout level here, came down, retested it perfectly, has since bounced up nice this week. And if we look over at like this dominance chart, we can see that Ethereum, which is the blue line here, has pivoted to the upside. Also, memes have pivoted to the upside, which is interesting. Meanwhile, we've got Bitcoin pivoting a little bit to the downside and alts pivoting a little bit to the downside. So in this moment right now, it's like ETH and memes is basically what's what's kind of running and what's driving the market at the moment. It's everything else is sort of just meh, and ETH and memes. Solana is actually doing pretty good in the moment too, and Solana's in the top 10, so it wouldn't have been factored in that others dominance as well. But yeah, it's interesting. Like if kind of looking over here, if we look at this chart, this is sort of the aggregate meme indicator. We can see that it sort of set a low here at the end of July, and has continued to set higher highs and higher lows since then. It's in a nice steady rebound uptrend. It's about to reclaim this moving average. So again, memes are looking strong. And what else? What was it? I wanted to, there was one other chart I wanted to show. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, it's basically ETH and memes. ETH and memes are driving the boat right now, and everything looks really good. I also want to get in talking about the crypto dashboard on the Real Vision website, which we can touch on. Or if there's anything else in the moment that you have, do we have any questions, Bijan, or should I just jump right into that?
Yeah, let's hit a question first from Mateo.
Okay.
But no surprise, right? Memes they've been running for quite some time now, but I think the welcome surprise and that we've been talking about for a little while on the show, and the guys on Rekt Vision have also been talking about, is ETH coming alive again.
Right.
And this is ETH's moment. So it's nice to see that backed up in the charts and seeing that healthy trajectory there. But let's take this question from Mateo that comes on the platform. So last month we highlighted the Iron the Hype trade, which was featured on our platform by our product guru, Robbie. So great trade that Robbie input on the platform. But since then, Iron has actually changed their name to Hype D. And now it looks like it had a healthy pullback. Was wondering if Kris thinks this is a good buy level or just his thoughts in general on the stock. Thanks in advance. So Hype, the ticker is HYPD.
HYPD. Let's see. I wonder if the data carried over from the name change, or if it doesn't look like it has. Well, let's see. It's tricky to. What was the old symbol again? INA. I don't remember.
EYEN.
EYEN. Let's see if the. Oh no. Sometimes when they'll go through a name change, and maybe I'm just not finding it here, but sometimes when a project goes through a name change, you can look at the original chart and it'll sort of carry over all the old chart history plus the new history going forward. But it doesn't look like I can see that. So right now, all I can see is the Hype D. And as much as I wish I could, there's just really not a lot to go on here in terms of a bigger picture of what looks like a longer term support level. So yes, definitely, you're right. Big healthy correction to be sure, no doubt about that. I don't know though. I don't have, like I said, I don't have enough information to go on here to give you a clear technical analysis of what looks like a good landing zone for this asset in this moment. I'll kind of do maybe some more digging, and if I can find a chart with some more price history going back, we can revisit that. Like I can answer in the chat or something on the website. But yeah, unfortunately, there's just not enough to go on here other than yes, big correction. I don't know if the bottom is in or not. I have no way to tell right now.
Yeah, and obviously that one's going to be really tied to the performance of hype in general, right? So
Right.
I think it'll move as hype moves. But yeah, we'll get back to that once we have more data on it, Mateo. So thank you for the question. Let's take one more because we were talking about memes and their strength that they're showing right now with ETH. This question comes from David on the platform. Hey guys, what do you think of Pump Fun after its big post-launch crash? It's up 25% this week. Also saw someone on the platform input a pump trade yesterday, caught that bottom really nicely, and they're up 25% on that trade. But what do we think of the pump token these days?
It is definitely looking better. It was bound to do this. I figured a lot of what this was just a lot of profit taking from all of the people that basically got in the pre-sale and the investors and things like that who were basically already up 10x by the time the product launched. And so you were bound to see a fair bit of profit taking from that in the initial launch area. It does look like it has found a bottom and it is rounding up nicely. So yeah, I think maybe in the short term, definitely a strong reversal. I want to kind of dig into it on a higher time frame or lower time frame rather, since it is so new, and just see if we can kind of get a little bit more insight here. Yeah, I mean, again, it does look strong. It does look like a nice double bottom here, and is continuing to set subsequent higher highs and higher lows. I would say the bottom is in for now. Personally, I remain skeptical on just the long-term viability of meme launchpad platforms in general, but I think that is going to be a little bit of a fad in and of itself. But certainly in the meantime, in the short term, yeah, this is probably going to be a good bet to at least catch back up to its initial launch price, and then I guess where it goes from there remains to be seen. But I definitely wouldn't hold this as like a multi-month, longer-term hold for sure.
Thank you for the question, David. All right, Kris, let's head over to the crypto dashboard, and then we'll take a few more questions that we have on the platform.
So looking at the crypto dashboard here on the Real Vision website, I often talk about this. You've probably heard me talk about this before, the difference between the top 200 market cap weight versus top 200 equal weight. And when the top 200 equal weight is outperforming, that again means that alts are generally outperforming. And so we can see here on a 30-day basis, they have been outperforming. Now, we did have a bit of we kind of went into a temporary sort of 60-day cycle correction period over the last week. And so we did see that alts generally went down more than the higher market cap, which makes sense. I mean, that's how crypto works generally. But coming out of the lows, we can see alts have again bounced stronger and are up higher on a daily basis than the top 200 market cap weight. So this is again telling us that sort of the momentum is further out the risk curve right now, which I think is a good sign. Also, if we look, we can see, I mean, really, this is amazing. These numbers here for Ethereum over the last 90 days, over the last 30 days even, just how much they're outpacing Bitcoin. Up 100% versus Bitcoin's 21% over the last month, up 44% compared to Bitcoin's 6%. Even Solana is doing well over the last month compared to Bitcoin. It's up 13% compared to 6%. And on the daily, it's also above Bitcoin as well. But what I wanted to touch on were a couple other sectors down here. We've been seeing DeFi outperforming as a sector. And then by virtue of Ethereum and a couple other layer ones, we've also been seeing layer ones outperform as a sector. And so I wanted to kind of dig in on a couple of those real quick. Looking at smart contract platforms, you can dig into layer ones. But it's not just ETH. It's not just ETH that's doing well. We've got Hedera, which is a really other popular one that a lot of people talk about. We get a lot of requests on the show for Hedera. Hedera is doing extremely well, really, across the board. I mean, annually up, 340%, 90 days up 40%, up almost 60% in the last 30 days. So I think Hedera is one to watch. Obviously, Ethereum is in that mix too. Tezos is sort of interesting to me that it's doing as well. It's kind of coming on strong as late. We're seeing a lot of just layer ones in general doing well. Not to say that it's a little tricky with that. I don't know that I see Tezos necessarily becoming a favored layer one, but it's interesting to see the token price doing as well as it is. Another one that was funny to me was Ethereum Classic. Just sort of, it's like I often wonder with that because I'm like, who actually is using Ethereum Classic these days? But anyway, just again pointing out that layer ones as a sector are doing really well over the last month and even over the last 90 days, and obviously bolstered by Ethereum for sure. CFX, I'm not actually familiar. I feel like I should be familiar with what CFX is, but I'm not. But it's come on strong really as of late too. And then moving on to the DeFi sector. What was ahead? Let's see. I had Athena, I want to say. Yeah, Athena was one that has really stood out as like Athena is basically a stablecoin platform where it generates a yield on the stablecoins. And right now it's like at 11%. And because of that crazy yield it's giving out on stablecoins, it has seen a massive influx of investment into the stablecoin, basically, like into the total value locked for the stablecoin. And it's gotten to where it's now the number third ranked stablecoin by value, by market cap in the entire market. And the Athena token, the ENA token, by virtue of that too, has done extremely well over the last. Well, I mean, it's in the green across the board here. It's outpacing most things, but it's up 125% over the last 90 days, up 130% over the last month. Even over the last like week plus, when we had a generally market-wide correction across the board, it kind of just faded that correction, and it's up, almost 5% on the week, and even on the day, it's leading most assets. And kind of if we pivot over to the Athena chart real quick, we can sort of see that reflected. It's like hold on, let me go back to the daily here. It's like, wrong chart. Athena, here we go. Yeah, I mean, it sort of, yes, it corrected a little bit, but it held support very cleanly on its 20-day moving average. Again, it's touched it as support. It hasn't really dropped or hasn't lost its structure at all. It hasn't reversed its downtrend at all. It looks a lot healthier than a lot of other assets, even including Bitcoin, which sort of lost its bigger moving averages and started to kind of roll over. And we had a crossover of the moving averages. In that same time span, Athena has just held up well and continues to, set higher lows, basically coming out of the dip. So just a really strong looking chart and a really innovative product, I think. And I think it's going to continue to make waves because it's the first sort of big stablecoin that's not dollar backed to come along. It's like a derivative backed stablecoin that basically plays on a delta neutral strategy, and you're sort of getting the yield that comes from that delta neutral strategy and from the Ethereum staking that they do. So it's unique, it's novel, and I'm very curious to see just how this plays out, because I think a lot of people are going to maybe try to compare it to the likes of Luna, but in fact, it's a very, very different structure. It's not built on a house of cards in the same way Luna was. Like, yes, it's not without risk. I won't say that. It's not completely risk-free, like, say, a dollar-backed stablecoin would be, but it's by far more stable, than the likes of UST was and the whole Luna ecosystem. So I don't think it's a fair comparison to kind of lump this in with that. Do a little bit of research on it, and you'll see that like it's actually quite a bit different, really night and day. But just looking at this volume, like this volume is crazy. Like it's just $9 billion worth of inflows coming into this asset. So clearly there's big money that sees this as a viable use case for a stablecoin option. And I think it's going to continue to make waves, and it's going to be something that I'm going to continue to pay attention to. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, with all this stablecoin, regulation coming, with the bills passing that are helping stablecoins, hopefully that'll really just add to it and prevent something like a Luna from happening going forward. That's the hope, and hopefully Athena is not obviously one of those. We wanted to talk about rekt today too, because that is just absolutely ripping. What are they? Another all-time high. That's like 16 all-time highs in the last like month and a half, if you will. So yeah, let's see what they're up to.
Honestly, it's pretty impressive. I mean, and their market cap continues to grow. It's getting well established now. It's up over 300 million. Like they're in the they've definitely entered into the we're legitimate kind of category. We're not going to just disappear overnight kind of thing. It's been really cool to watch this. I mean, just massive run out of the April lows. I mean, what is it up since the April lows? Let's see. Well, actually, it bottomed in March, like a lot of memes did. Kind of like SPX and Giga and Farcoin and all those. They bottomed in March, but since that, it's up. I mean, 38x. Like, come on, like that's just nuts. Like that's probably blown everything else out of the water that I can think of. So granted, the market cap was much smaller back then, but still. This is just really cool to see, and an innovative asset. It's not just a meme coin. It's a product token. It's got real world products that are sort of bolstering it. They're doing really cool things with the drinks. You could argue it's maybe like you're investing in kind of the early days of like a Red Bull sort of thing. And we know drinks companies can just take off. I mean, they can turn into multi-billion-dollar businesses. They can get bought by the likes of Pepsi and Coke, down the road, and just turn into massive things. So there's cool incentives behind this token and the way that the tokenomics are lined up. Go and research. It's just rekt coin, I think rektcoin.com if I'm not mistaken. Cool project, and clearly it's working because, like, again, the price just doesn't lie, and it's been really impressive to watch.
Yeah, it reminds me. There's a tweet from Pons, who's the founder of the Plague, who's also working on building a business in Web3 with the Plague community. But one thing in particular, he was saying that if you think NFT projects are cyclical assets, you're gonna miss the boat on some real businesses and communities that are going to set the stage for the next iteration of the digital age that we're approaching, and rekt is clearly one of those. It's so I think when you're looking at NFTs in general, Raul's been talking about NFTs a lot. Keep that in mind. Obviously you have your art assets like anything from Beeple, Crypto Dick Butts, MFers, Xcopy of the world. You'll have those assets that'll always hold value, but you want to think of NFTs in the form of companies now that are actually building real businesses with their communities. And once you start thinking about that, there's really not that many NFTs you should be considering. So yeah, great job on the rekt coin there. If you're holding it, good job there.
I like to, just from the drinks, I mean, from the NFT side, yes, but from the drink side too, like I like how they're doing the partnerships with the various exchanges. They've launched 5 different series of drinks now. They've all sold out ahead of time. Basically, they're all pre-sold out ahead of time, which is awesome, and not just like a little bit. I mean, we're talking 250,000 plus, like, can launches. So it's not just like little, I mean, yeah, that's not like the same as Red Bull, obviously, but those are pretty big launches. And for those to sell out ahead of time, basically before they're even on the market, I think speaks to the attention that this product has. And so I think it's only going to get bigger, and clearly, they'll be able to ramp up the production. They'll be able to ramp up the size of the launches, and they're getting them into, the likes of 7-Eleven and things like that in various areas. And it's just doing really well as like a new business. It's got people's attention. It's already got a built-in following, which is amazing for a drinks brand to come online with already a massive holder base of sort of loyal fanatics who are going to be buying the product, before it even comes on the market. So I like what I'm seeing here with this. I think it's really interesting and really novel. I haven't seen another project quite like it.
Yeah, their last I think sold out in 3 minutes or under three, just under 3 minutes. It's just craziness.
So those launches are only going to get bigger and bigger, in terms of the amounts and things like that. Next thing you know, they'll be doing million launches, million can launches and things like that. So yeah, good for rekt.
Great job, rekt. All right, let's take this question from Ken Bob on the platform. Can you folks cover the SBET structure?
The SBET
structure. SBET, so SBET. Well, they want us to
like the chart structure.
SBET. Yep, exactly.
Sorry. Let's see what's going to be the best one here. Let's try.
That was a really hot trade about a month and a half ago on our platform. A bunch of people were putting in SBET and just having meme coin like gains with that trade there. So what do we see here?
I mean, definitely you can see how it would have been. Like, what did it do here in this stretch? 5x, 500, 600, 700% at one point. So yeah, we can see it's definitely given a lot of that back. This kind of calls for a fib extension here real quick. Let me just sort of see what that looks like. Big heavy correction. I mean, way down below the 786, which is really where you want to see things generally find support in this context. And the fact that it kind of kept going below isn't a great sign. And the fact that it's still sort of below, and the fact that it's still kind of, I mean, yes, it's sort of flipped its 10-day moving average, but this is a pretty big flush out for sure. Very volatile, obviously. I kind of want to, let me pull it up on this indicator here and see if I can get a little bit more insight. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I expected. It's just showing mostly neutral. It's a mostly neutral signal right now. It's hard to gauge when charts essentially go sideways with sort of big spikes here and there and then run right back down, and they don't really establish like a longer term trend that you can use to establish kind of support and resistance levels and sort of project where price might go. The one thing I can say though is the fact that it didn't come all the way down to the same level this last time here. So as long as it can sort of establish this as the low and reverse up and start setting higher highs, to me, that is a good sign. And we might be seeing the start of that now. You know, obviously, it just got really flushed out in this most recent market correction, has technically recovered its 10-day moving average, which is a decent sign. I mean, honestly, Bitcoin hasn't yet actually recovered its 10-day moving average for comparison's sake. So, you know, in that sense, it's doing okay right now. But we need to see this continue further. Obviously, we need to see these moving averages cross back over to the upside. So I think if you wanted to get back into this, or if you exited and you're looking for a buy level, this could be a bottom, but this would still be considered, I think, an aggressive entry, because like we haven't really had a fully confirmed reversal, fully confirmed uptrend yet. Kind of the next level I would be looking at would be like this level here, which is kind of the 4,300 level. We're at 34 right now. So I think if it can get back up above 43, kind of reconfirm this 20-day moving average as support, that would be, to me, a more sure entry, like a safer bet. Like if it can recover that level and maybe form it as support, I would say, yeah, that's probably going to make another run. But in the moment, it's more of like a slot machine. It's more of a gamble where it could go either way, I think, right now. So that's really what I'm seeing with this.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for the questions. Kris, do you have anything that you want us to consider, or anything that you're looking at going into the weekend before we wrap up this edition of Trading the Markets?
Like I said, really, I'm going to be laser focused on Bitcoin hitting that 115,800 level. I think once we see that, we might start to see some fireworks to the upside. So I'm going to be kind of laser focused on that for the rest of the day and really for the rest of the week. Because as soon as that happens, hopefully, again, that's the catalyst that we've been looking for to really kind of resume this uptrend. So yeah.
Awesome. And guys, we'll be back again on Monday for our live TA show. So make sure you join us then. And also make sure you sign up to RV Connect by Sunday night so you can take part in our Ready, Set, Connect series, where, again, we're going to be talking about AI, crypto, and macro. It's a 2-week series, starts August 11th. And again, guys, if you are not in Connect, you are really missing out, because you don't just get your live TA show on Monday. You get 2 different portfolios that if you've been following along, you'd be up over 100% with Kris's entry-level crypto portfolio. Not even have to do anything, just follow along with the updates. And then you'd have Joe Bland's portfolio, and you'd be up over 50% on that as well. So not bad to just follow along, take part in the upwards roller coaster that these portfolios are on. And also you'll get to take part in trade ideas. So you'll find great trades like SBET that was put on our platform last month, along with a lot of others. So yeah, make sure you sign up to Connect. We have some great deals going on for that. And we'll see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Don't fuck this up. Fuck you. Higher for the charts. Let's go. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.